to the next level. We trying to get to the next level. Take it to the next level. Next level. Next level. Next level. We trying to get to the next level. Next level.
Yo, what's good, everyone? Hey, what up, Paul? I don't know if there's a lot of delay on Facebook. Maybe you guys can tell me. So yeah, how's everyone doing today? What up, what up? I try to keep an eye on the chat on my phone. Oh, there's a comment here. Okay. I'm sorry guys, I don't really know the live stream works yet. I will figure that out. So yeah. So yeah, just a quick introduction. My name is Ivory. I'm from France. My accent will tell it, I guess. Yeah, I'm 25. I've been making music since 8 years now. And yeah, that's all I can say, honestly. I use FL Studio. And yeah, today we're gonna go through two of my latest tracks. One, which is my Hero Bus remix, right here. And another one, which is an unreleased one. So you guys gonna hear some exclusive shit tonight. Oh, my mic needs to be louder. Okay, wait. Is it better now? Let me know. Oh, my camera. Let me know, guys, if you can hear me correctly. So yeah, I'm gonna play this track and then gonna go through and analyze with you every element. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know in the chat. I'll try to keep an eye on my phone. Yeah, let's go.
Music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get music, visualizer in every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Thank you again. Yeah, I'm not gonna play the outro because that's literally the same thing as the intro. Just copy and paste because I'm lazy. The only thing I did on the outro is stretching the voice and adding some effects, like just, you know, to make it sound like professional, even if it's not. Anyway, so yeah, if you have any questions, now you can let me know. Oh, Justin. I just want to know how you balance keeping things loud and clear while still maintaining power and not letting elements overwhelm each other. Good question. I think I will go over that in a few minutes when I will go over the drop of this track, and I will answer your question, if that's cool. So yeah, let's start with the intro. So that's a detail, but there's something I really love to do is having a kind of pre-intro before the intro. So how to say this? Here you have 16 bars, okay, 32 here, and I like to have like 8 bar before the 16 here, just to, you know, kind of make the real intro fade in the track. And I usually like to, you know, add some cinematics, effects, not effects, but drums, some effects as well. Always some light stuff, if that makes sense. So, yeah. In this case here, just some folders here, impacts, and the voice also as well. I need to speak closer to the microphone. I forgot about that. My bad, guys. So yeah, since this is a remix, I try to use some of the instruments from the original track, which is Smoke from Erebust. My bad. So I wanted to use the plug here, but everything was really clipping and distorted in the stems, so I couldn't really process them again. So the only thing I did is stretching them, then adding a trance gate here from kilohertz. Yeah, I would go over the percussions layer for sure. So yeah, I used a trance gate here So I will just remove all the effects so you can hear what happens, and I will turn this down because it's extremely loud. For I don't know why. So that's yeah, a simple plug, but when it comes here, as you can hear, it's extremely like distorted. So I kind of wanted to reshape the plug. So I added the trans gate here with this rhythm, and it sounds like that. Oh, wait. Oh, there's a sidechain. That's why we can hear. My bad. Let me just disable that. So yeah. And then I added some stereo imaging plugin. I just, yeah, I made the mono under 400 Hertz mono. Sorry, the frequency is under 400 Hertz mono. And then I added some reverb and some EQing here. And yeah, that's it. So pretty simple. But I really wanted to use this plug for some reason. I don't know. I kind of loved it, but at the same time it was like too dirty for my track. So yeah. Let's continue. Yeah, some noises here. Distorted guitars. So the percussions in the intro. Justin, you asked me about it. It's pretty simple, honestly. It's like stacking layers on top of each other. That's how you make huge stuff and like powerful stuff, in my opinion. You have different way to make stuff loud and, you know, powerful for sure, but I like to layer percussions together and cymbals as well. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on here, like crashes, rides, hi-hats. So if I were to play the cymbals, for example, and then you add all this percussion. And then you have the drums. There was some hi-hats, but I removed them, I guess. Yeah, that was probably too much. Oh, I need to lower FL. Okay. Yeah, let me know if that's better, FL. So yeah, that's for the percussions. And for the mixing about it, what I do is nothing here. I just sidechain them. Hold on, I need to enable it. I sidechain the percussions to the kick and snares because I don't want them to clash. I want to only have like the transient of my kick and snare, nothing else. And yeah, nothing really crazy. I usually distort the percussion as well. I don't know if, no, not in this case, but maybe this one. Yeah, there's a bit of distortion, but it's just to, you know, make it sound louder. But yeah, there's not a lot of process. And honestly, that's, as you can see, the Kashmir samples. And they're really well processed. So I usually don't do anything on it. Just layer them to make it sound like how I want them to sound. But yeah. That's probably something you hear a lot, but that's something that, in my opinion, is really true. That's, you know, you need to pick up the right samples. If you choose a sample that sounds bad, you will need to put a lot of post-processing, compression, transient shaper, distortion, and all that stuff. But if you have good drums, good sounding drums, you don't have to do that. So yeah, that's I know that's a tip that everyone probably knows, but that's really important. And I don't have a lot of samples. For example, like I have those samples here, Ivory 5 samples, and that's literally all I use for my tracks. And believe me, I have like terabytes of samples, but I only use that because that's the one that, in my opinion, sounds really good and ready to use. Let me check the chat. So yeah, but again, it really depends on the tracks too. sometimes you want your percussions to have that kind of distorted texture, I guess. And so you will want to add some distortion on it. It's really a matter of taste after that, you know. So yeah. So let's go over the instruments for the intro. Let me see if I'm recording. Yes, I am recording. Yeah, so the instruments in the intro. Let me see that. Plex here. Yeah, okay, let's adjust it here. I just added a bass here. Doing with Serum. Because I do most of my sound design with Serum. Every synth in the intro, in the drop, everything I do it with Serum. That's my go-to plugin. I sometimes use Armor. I also use like Contact and stuff like that, obviously, to have, you know, those real instruments. But otherwise, I really love to try to make everything myself, even if it's just a simple bass for an intro. I love doing that. I love sound designing stuff. So where's the bass here? Yeah, something really simple, but with pitch modulation here and the master tuning, which makes the bass plucky, and it gives it more transient. If I were to remove it. So yeah, simple bass here. Do you use LUFS or RMS for loudness? I use LUFS. I'm really bad with all that stuff, all that mastering stuff, and dB and RMS and LUFS stuff, honestly. I just have this plugin called Yulin Loudness Meter, and it works with LUFS. I think you can turn it to RMS somewhere. But anyway, I use this plugin, so I kind of learned to work with LUFS. And yeah, that's all I can say about it. Honestly, I can't go deep about this kind of stuff because I'm bad at it. I will go over my mastering after that, and you will understand that I don't know a lot of stuff about it. Anyway, again, some distorted guitars here. That are pitched up, because originally it was that. Oh. So that's the same sample, but pitch up 1 octave. And I think I added some post-processing, but resampled it. Because, oh yeah, in this project, I used all the fucking channels in the mixer. I can't add anything else. So, if I want to do something, I need to resample it and then add it straight to my bus. Which is annoying, but the track is done and released now, so I don't really care. But yeah, that's why you will see a lot of stuff resampled. Basses as well, but no worries. I have a project full of presets, Serum and all that shit, so no worries. Anyway, I added some vocals here as well, some background stuff. It's subtle, but it makes a big difference. You know, just create a big ambience in the intro, like the brass and the thing. That's Serum Skin. What's Serum Skin? Is it I don't even know. Oh yeah, okay, wait, yeah, I think I know. I think that's Virtual Riot. Skin. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Virtual Riot Skin. I'm not sure, but I think so. And I don't know where I got it, I'm sorry. But probably on Reddit or something like that. So, during your mastering process, how do you balance out your pre-post gain? I have an issue with my mixes always sounding very distant because I don't know how to properly balance my pre-post gain. What do you mean by pre-post gain? You mean how loud the track comes in your limiter or whatever you use in the master? Let me know if that's what I mean. And yeah, sorry, Christian, I don't know about the the serum skin, but I'm pretty sure it's virtually out one from Reddit. No, I said it. I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway, you can find a lot of stuff on Reddit. If you type serum skins, you will find a lot of guys who made some skins as well. So yeah, just go and read it. And it's free. So yeah, pretty simple stuff here again. Oh, I forgot to go over that, but that's something really simple. But I use a lot of risers, fixes and stuff like that. It helps me to fill up the frequency, the frequency spectrum. Just add some movement in the background as well. You know, it makes the song more alive, I guess. Here come those distorted tracks, which are made in Serum as well. So right now it's resampled because let me show you. That was a patch. And that's really simple. It's literally a saw with some filtering, distortion, EQing before the distortion, sorry. So yeah, if you don't put the EQing before the distortion, you won't have that kind of vowel effect, I guess. So yeah, you're gonna reach those frequency with an EQ. Do some peaks here, some modulation on the frequency, and distort that a lot. Add some phaser, not necessary. Compression, stereo imaging. And yeah, so that was the first batch. Then I bounced it out and I stretched it. So it sounds like kind of dirty and distorted because I wanted to, you know, follow the same texture as the Hero Bus plugs, which are really like crispy. I don't know how to explain that or to find the right word, but I think you know what I mean. Crispy. Yeah, that's cool. Wow. Anyway, so I wanted to have that same effect on my plugs, so I bounced it out and I stretched it, so it sounds like that. It sounds dirty, and I added cleaner copy on top of it. With some risers again. Some details here as well. I love to add some, I call that miscellaneous stuff, but I don't know if that's the right category. Anyway, it's, you know, little stuff that's gonna make your song way more interesting. You can call that hair candy. It's like, yeah, literally little sounds that will fill up the blank space or just, you know, trigger your ear. Like you will pan a kind of chime on the right side, and, you know, when you will listen to the song, you will instantly hear this detail, and you can do this kind of stuff everywhere in your track. Before the drop, during here, for example, it's like, you know, I cut the 16 bar here and added some sword sound and an impact here. So it sounds like that. Oh, there's the vocals as well. And this impact here, reverse impact, helped me to give the kick more, more power, I guess. Like if you play both together, it's kind of like, you know, if you watch like a cartoon or something like that, and someone gonna punch someone else, and you have that this kind of effect, and it's literally the same thing here, but with some low end stuff, and yeah, just combined to a kick, it's just gonna make your kick sounds way more powerful. So this with the sword as well. So the sword is kind of, you know, dirty as well, and it makes just this little part here just makes everything else more intense, I guess. You know, you have that sword and that pumping effect right before the kick. But anyway, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this detail, but I think that's something important to, yeah, make your track sounds a bit more professional and more interesting. So yeah, Justin, can you explain later how you organize your track from going from the writing stage and arranging it to a spot where all those ID make sense? Yeah, I can go over that. But I can even speak about it real quick. But I think that's something that really depends of your inspiration and creativity. Personally, I always spend a lot of time before I have like 16 bar done. I always spend like so much time on details that it's impossible for me to kind of, make this drop that sounds like that, another drop that sounds like that, another drop that sounds like that, and then sit my ass and say, okay, now I'm gonna organize all the basses and make a drop out of the 3 drops. No, I personally can't work like that for some reason. I've trying different stuff, and for some reason I just, I will make a bass, for example, like the first bass, a growl, for example, something stupid, and I won't be able to do anything else until my drop doesn't sound like perfect and fitting with my kick and the intro and everything else before. So my process is kind of weird, and I would love to have a different way to work, honestly. But yeah, that's how I work on my song. I'm just, I don't know, and it really depends of my creativity. Most of my I say my best tracks, my tracks that worked well, that was like one-shot tracks. Or not exactly a one-shot track, but I spent not more than a week on it, and the main elements were done in like one night or something. And because I was extremely creative that night and I was extremely motivated and all that stuff. But yeah, the way you gotta work and write stuff will really depend on your mood, your energy and creativity and all that stuff. I think you shouldn't like overthink about it. Just do stuff until it sounds good, and I mean that's kind of stupid advice, but yeah, just don't overthink stuff. That shit blocked me for so long, man. Overthinking stuff, like thinking that's, oh, I need to make more basses in order to make that drop and all that shit, and mix down, and just make music and you will see everything will go fast. But yeah, anyway, let's continue. So yeah, the breakdown, no, the build-up now. So that was a breakdown here. So pretty simple stuff. I think that was, okay, no, I think that was the stems, but it's not. It's just a sample that I stretch out. So yeah, simple drums. I had a brass here that I pitched up as well. It's kind of dirty here with the harsh cuts here, but there's a sidechain, so you can't really hear it. Yeah, the acapella as well, some other risers, a lot of risers actually, a shit ton of risers. Let me just mute them and see how it sounds without the risers. It doesn't seem that empty. I don't know, I love risers, so... And yeah, and here goes the drop. So I will answer your questions about the drop. But yeah, if you have any question about the intro or anything else, let me know. Let me know. So yeah, let me play the drop again real quick, at least the first part, and I'll go over it after that. So yeah, what is happening in the drop? There's a lot of layers everywhere. So there's a lot of layers because as you know now, I used all the channels and I wanted to add more basses. I was at like the final step of finishing the track and I was still like trying to add more basses and more layers and stuff. So yeah, I had to resample a bunch of them, but I still have some interesting layers that are not bounced, and I will go over them. How do you layer your kick and snare? How do you create your flow? I have more questions when it comes to doing automation to the drop. Yeah, just ask me, guys. So I will answer a question from Christian. How do you layer your kick and snare? So right here it's a kick and clap. And oh, there's actually a snare. My bad. Let me just solo everything. Yeah, here we go. So, shout out Cosmos. You got some really nice kick and snares. What I usually do, EQing, it really depends on the kicks and how my track sounds. Sometimes I will want to have a really distorted kick, and in this case I wanted like something more cleaner with a lot of transients. Sorry, I have to drink, I'm like... My bad. Anyway, so yeah, there's EQ on my kick. The same thing goes on my claps. I just remove the low end of my claps and kind of make the frequency I really like stand out. So in this case, in this clap, I always use this clap, which is a Vengeance clap. It's on all my tracks since years, but I can tweak it in many ways now and make it sound different for sure. But yeah, that's my favorite clap. And so yeah, I really love these frequencies here, those frequencies here. So I can try to not isolate them, but you know, turn down the other frequencies here without making the clap sounds bad. And Pro Q to adjust the stereo imaging because there was too much stereo here in the mid range. So yeah, everything. So kick and claps goes to a drum bus, which has a saturator on it. M saturator from Melda. It's free if you guys need a saturator. It's really good. And the settings really depends of the track and how I want my drums to sound together. But it's mostly like to glue my kick and my claps together. And then after the saturator, I have a transient shaper. And one thing that makes a difference here for the layering is the automation I apply on the claps. Because if I were to remove the automation, it sounds like that. Oh no, why is it not working? Did I actually dissolve it? Oh yeah, never mind. So that's how it sounds. That's how it sounds without the sidechain, and that's how it sounds with the sidechain. So I'm like removing the first few milliseconds of every claps here to make my kick stand here, and yeah, that's just it. Honestly, sidechain on my clap. I just try to match the shape of my kick like that, you know. I just match the same shape. I invert it, and then yeah, that's really simple. And the saturator makes everything glued together, so it doesn't sound like, you know, you don't have that really big pumping effect because the saturator gonna kind of compress everything together again. But yeah, I don't do any black magic on my drums. It's really simple. I like to layer hi-hats as well, just to give some texture to the kick. What they do and what would you recommend through the drop in terms of layering and arrangement? I will go over this in a second. Do you have a process for whenever you are making a new bass sound in Serum? Yes and no. I mean, yes. I use OTT, 1 or 2 OTT. It really depends of what gonna comes out Serum, if it's harsh or not. And then I use Camel Crusher a lot, and M Saturator, and EQing, and that's mostly it. If I wanna go a bit, weird, I like to use Disperser, Vocodex, Vocoder for those who don't have Vocodex. Vocodex is a native plugin from FL Studio. But yeah, I don't do anything crazy. I sometimes create some patchers, which is, for those who don't have FL Studio, it's kind of when you guys separate one signal in 2 signals and then process the 2 signals differently. You can do that in one channel. And in FL, we can't do that without going through patcher, which is at the end the same thing as Ableton, but it's more like pain in the ass to do that. But anyway, I sometimes do stuff like that. I have a bunch of patcher actually for growls and basses, and yeah, anyway. Patcher is good, honestly. If you want to go crazy, use patcher. Do some parallel processing and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't do any crazy shit on my bass. I trace and shape each drums and not the bus. What's pro and cons of doing the bus? Good question. Honestly, I don't have a really academic way to mix down my stuff. I just want my stuff to be loud, and I want my drums to be like the loudest thing in my track, and the thing that has a more transient and punch. So when I do drums, I instantly put a transient shaper on the bus, so everything sounds like with the same amount of transient, not amount and transient, but amount of compression, because transient shaping is compression. But yeah, it can be useful if you want to apply the same type of compression on all your drums. Yeah, I finally had an answer. Sorry. Let me know. Sorry, I don't know if you understand that, but yeah, if you got it, cool. If you don't know, let me know. When to use EQ and OTT in a chain? Which goes first? It really depends of what you want to do with sound design. If you just want to make the sound louder and thicker, I would suggest to remove the lows and try to compress only what you want. But in some case, you want to compress the low end with OTT, because it creates some artifacts in the high end, which is really cool and really, I think, overused in dubstep. Not overused, I love that, but a lot of people use that. And yeah, it can be like a sound design process to not cut the lows and have that crispy type of sound. But yeah, it really depends. If you just want to make your sound thicker and louder, cut what you don't need, because OTT will bring back everything. Even if you have a little bit of low end you can't hear, OTT will bring it back. So yeah, you want to cut that off. So yeah, let's go over the bass now. Sorry, let me know if I talk too much. Also, I'm sorry if I have a broken voice. It's like 3:32 in the morning here, so I start to be a bit tired, but that's okay. So let's go with the basses. So I have some rolls here that I made with Serum, and as you can see on the title, 9 minutes to glitch. It's because I was tweaking Serum during 9 minutes and had a bunch of basses to play with, and I just cut the one that was interesting and dropped them in the project. So I feel like it sounds good. I kind of wanted something screechy like that, so yeah. So you have those main basses, the screech that I made with Serum. I will, if we have time, I can show you later how I made this, because it's really simple. But yeah, there was some Serum patches that I bounced in audio. Oh, let me solo that. Oh, my bad. So yeah, those basses here, the main ones. Then there's a little layer here, really bad. As you can hear, it doesn't make sense to have this in your track, but when combined to the first one, it's subtle, but it gives like the extra harmonics that the original bass didn't have. So yeah, after this one, I have another layer here, which is barely noticeable, but it adds some grit to the main bass as well. And then I have those machine guns shots here. That helps me to have some transient of the bass on the basses. Sorry. Again, it's subtle, but it makes a difference. If I play without the gunshot and with it, oh, there's a sidechain, so bad example. I would just go, yeah, just play this one. Why is it this? Oh, my bad. There's sidechain still. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, now we can hear it. So yeah, it just makes the whole bass sounds more like a machine gun thing. Again, some layers here, some basses that I've made before, growls. Some weird bass that I made with graphite the other day. It's like resampling some weird noise into, I think that was Portal or Volume Shaper, which has got some great presets for resampling. And I made this weird bass here that helps this growl here. Just give some more harmonics to it. The same growl here, as you can see, that I cut and added to another part of another growl. Oh, I have this thing here, which is from Barely Alive stems, from their track Spicy Future. So I asked them if I could do that, and they say okay. That's just a bass, distorted bass, and for some reason I had the stems, and I was trying to understand how those guys can have so much loudness and how they can make their basses so full and all that stuff. I was trying to compare their stems to my basses, and then I put this bass here in my project, and it sounds like really cool, let's say. Fucking sidechain. Anyway, and so yeah, I just use that in complement to this gnarly scent here to, yeah, gives more texture to it. I usually don't do that. That's literally the first time I use someone else's thing in my tracks, but yeah, that's just a distorted noise. I don't think that's a big problem. Anyway, there's this serum patch here, which is pretty simple as well. Let me go over it. Torquish. It's called Torquish because I was trying to do some kind of torque bass from, you know, Spacelesses. I failed literally, but that was kind of correct. So yeah, some really classic FM with 16 voices, automation on the unison here with a macro, some comb filtering, some EQing before I do a low pass, so there's not too much high-end coming in the comb filter, kind of like controlled, and OTT will bring this back after. So yeah, someone asked me before if I should like remove the low end from OTT or not, and in this case I didn't, but I had like an high pass here doing the job. So yeah, but I could like enable the sub here, direct out, and yeah, it doesn't sound good right here, but you can hear that it creates some clicky noise, and sometimes you can use that in a creative way to like fill the frequency spectrum, or just fill the blank space in your track. Even resample it. I know Samplifier does this kind of stuff. He resampled the OTT tail. You know, the OTT tail, sorry. The tail that OTT creates after, for example, if you put a reverb and OTT 100%. So he take that and make some crazy resampling out of that. So if you are creative, you can really do some cool stuff with OTT and a sub. Even just do a sine wave and put like 3 OTT on it. Then after the OTT, cut the low end and just keep the ringing noise, like a beep. That can be cool. So yeah, simple bass, some automation here on the hyperdimension, maybe too much actually. Then OTT, 100%. I leave the time almost where it was by default, and I turn the out gain up. Here, after the OTT, I remove the low end again, because OTT bring it back for sure. Then saturated everything really loud actually. So plus 13 dBs. Then Pro Q3 with a dynamic EQ here on the sides, because there was too much side here in the mid-range. Subtle again. Samplifier will be here next Friday. Oh shit! The French invasion. That's cool. That's super cool. So yeah. Let's continue. Oh, my bad. Yeah. So I have some other samples here. I love to... This year, I was kind of in a writer's block. Not kind of. I was in a big writer's block, actually. And all I could do was basses. I wasn't able to write any tracks. So I have like a shit ton of basses now. Like, I have a lot of stuff I can use and drop in my project, and yeah, just make music really fast. Yeah, I will go over that after as well. Resampling, etc. So yeah, nothing else here. I mean, the same thing as here. So here, as you can hear, I bounced the reverb of this bass. So what I did for FL users, if you don't know that, you can like take this bass, for example. So yeah, open the bass, right click here, click on audio editor. Then select one bass from those, and you can go here on reverb and create a reverb. That's it. And then you can, for example, fade it in. So Control F. Oh, remove this. Oh, fuck, my bad. So just keep the tail. Control X, delete, Control V, and then reverse this and drag it back into the project. And you have this. So it's not gonna sound the exact same, because I did some processing on it, I EQ it and all that shit. But yeah, that's the same process. And that's one bass. I've put reverb on, resampled, then just freeze the reverb, then reverse the reverb, and put it before the bass. So it creates this kind of sucking effect. So yeah, you can do that with drums, as I said before, FX and all that stuff. I see a lot of people using M saturator lately. Any advantage of using it? Other? I don't know if there's any advantage. I'm just a plugin collectioner, as you can see. Ta-da! So yeah, it's just I love to try stuff and see how songs, how those different Oh, those plugin sounds. Oh, my bad. So yeah, I just like to try stuff and see how it sounds and see if it sounds better than any other plugin. I like to use the Wave Shaper from FL, but I don't know. The M saturator is cool as well, and you have from Melda, sorry, you have a lot of other plugins, cool plugins. You have the comp filter, which is crazy good, the auto pitch, a lot of stuff. Frequency shifter as well is dope. Yeah, and I think all of them are free. So yeah, go grab them. Melda, I think it's Melda Production, the name of the company. So yeah. So those parts here are literally the same as here, just pitched up a little bit, and yeah, nothing changed. And there comes this break here. I'm not gonna play it, but you know what it is. And there's the basses from the part. So the track is divided in like 3 drops, and this one is drop 2. Never mind this drop 1C here. It's drop 2. So let's go over drop 2. Oh, what? So there's a lot of layers here. I will start with the sustained basses here. So yeah, I wanted to have a really full spectrum for this part of the track. I wanted to have a really full track. Sorry, not a full spectrum, but a full track, something really huge and full. Sorry, I don't have a lot of adjectives. But yeah. So I added a lot of basses, different basses with different tones and different frequencies to fill the spectrum entirely, because the main basses are kind of weak if you listen to them. Oh, my bad. And it's, you know, it's really simple. There's not a lot of stuff happening. But then if you remove that, you will see the big difference. So yeah. What's happening here? So let's take this first one, new synth. Never mind the name I put on my patterns, because that's stupid sometimes. New bass. So this one is just a saw wave, I guess? Yeah, just a saw wave. A saturation and EQing. I wanted to reach those frequencies here, as you can see, as you can tell. So this one combined to... So there's 2 bass that are similar, but that have a different rhythm. So there's this one. Sorry. This one, and you have this one as well. And both together. So what's happening in this patch? It's probably the most simple patch you will ever see in your life. I don't even know what's happening in there. Come on. So yeah, it's the most simplest. Oh my god, it's too simple. It's really too simple. So yeah, just an automation on the level. An automation that looks like the same automation I use for the level, but on the pitch. On the coarse pitch here, on oscillator B. And I also have the same LFO curve, sorry, not automation, on the panning here. It goes from left to right. Some distortion here. And as you can see here, the sub is enabled, and the sub combined to the high octave wavetable and the distortion create this kind of buzz effect, let's say. You know, I don't know how to explain, not to explain, but I don't know the right word for that, but it sounds like a buzz, so I call it a buzz. You can hear it now. Just subtle, and some compression, some hyperdimension. Remove the lows here. And for the other patch, it's the same thing. but the rate is way slower. So the first one was 1/8 and now it's 1/2. So yeah, both together create this kind of cool rhythm. Then you have, oh, come on, this other bass here. So there's no four sustained basses together on top of those guys here. And then you have the sub, which is a simple sub I resampled and put ring modulation on. And you can hear it. Shout out Spaghetti for this great tip. Show me that. So yeah, really simple stuff. And there's again a lot of effects. Where are you guys? Oh yeah, here. So there's all these background effects I made myself with Serum as well. That's gonna help me to, yeah, feel the frequency spectrum. So let me play only the effects. So this is layered to the basses. Oh, sorry. Let me remove the drums real quick. So as you can tell, there's like a big background here to fill the frequency spectrum. Let me put the station on. So if I were to remove the background effects and play the drop, it still sounds cool, but it doesn't sound as full as here. So yeah, let me go over each layer. So I will be fast. This little guy here, this little kind of laser background thing. I think this one, no, this one is mine as well. This thing here, then some sustained bass, not bass but leads, I guess. I don't know what to call that. You can really hear this one in the layers. Oh, and yeah, and everything together again. So yeah, here comes this part here. So unfortunately, I don't have the patch anymore for those basses. So yeah, that's only resampling. So let me just solo the basses. But no worries, I will. Don't worry, I will have. I will show you more patch in the other track. I will show you some patch in the other track. Sorry. So yeah, those basses here. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh. So yeah, one thing I want to talk about here for those basses. Maybe you noticed it or not, but they are completely off the grid, and that's intentional, of course. And if I didn't do that, it will sound really kind of robotic or too much predictable. And so yeah, I just tried to move some of them on the left a little bit and see how it sounds, and it sounded way better. So if I put it back here, let me just remember what it was. 2, 1, 2. Okay. So if I were to do that, for example, so it's the same 3 basses, but placed in a different placed at a different place and with a different rhythm. Makes something really more really different and way more interesting. Oh, okay. like that. Let me Control Z. Yeah, can you see, guys? Sounds kind of more interesting, I guess. So with the drums. Come on, drums. See, and even the sidechain was a bit too big for those kind of basses. And when the kick and the clap comes in, yeah, you can't hear the basses anymore because of the sidechain, which is pretty big. Here. It's way more interesting to put it here. And you can, go off the grid if you want. So yeah, that's a simple detail, but it literally changed this drop. I was like trying hard to use those basses, and I was like, fuck, it's impossible. It sounds bad. It sounds really bad. And then I just did that, and it sounded way better. So again, simple stuff, but it's all about details. Those glitches here, I met those glitches with Volume Shaper and Portal as well. Oh, don't forget the sub. The sub are resampled as well, so I can't go over the sub, but I will go how I make my. I will show you how I make my sub in the other project. Okay. I'm trying to look at the chat at the same time. I need to drink something. Drink water and wash your hands. It's important. So, oh, you mean, don't forget, oh yeah, don't forget your sub, oh yeah, yeah, okay, thank you. So yeah, let's continue. So, as you can tell, there's a different layer here. There's another bass that comes in, a more higher bass in octave, and that's just a sub with a different ring modulation amount. So that's the same sub as this one, but the ring modulation is different. I can't show you actually. I can't, but it's literally just a ring modulation. It's that simple. Just turn the knob up and see how it sounds. So yeah, let me just turn this back on. Oh yeah, there's this scream here, really important as well. If I remove it, it kind of sounds empty, and the scream makes everything sounds fuller first, and then sounds more aggressive because it's a scream. It's someone like a distorted voice, and it sounds like someone is dying, or I don't know. I'm sorry if that's trash, but it just makes everything sounds, more intense. Little details like that, swords, shotguns, screams, and stuff like that can make your drop sounds way more intense. It's all about the theme and energy you put in. And the same thing happened here with the basses. I just cut the basses and put them in a different, place, like what I did here. So yeah, nothing crazy. And then I used the same part from the breakdown here. So this part here. Copy and paste it here. So yeah, what's happening here? Again, the same layers that I used that I've used in the first part here, so part 1. That's the same. You can tell they're moving because of the animation. But yeah, same thing, and then I switched that on different synths. So those synths are the synths I used for the sustain part here. If I don't say shit. No? Yeah, that's the same. I mean, I made the synths from the same source. But yeah, that's again some resampling here, some layering. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 bass going together. Each one got its own role, let's say. This one for the texture. This one. Excuse me 1 second. Let me just mute the one we don't want to hear. Oh, what's happening? Excuse me about that. Okay, here we go. So that's the main bass here. Then there's this layer here. Then this layer here, which is like a metallic bass I've made ages ago. Let me just mute that. Oh, whoa, oh, no. So yeah, those basses with those basses as well. And the sub, of course. And this layer. And those new system bass, which is this thing here that I've made ages ago as well. And this cymatics background thing, I didn't realize. Oh no! Oh, I accidentally replaced my stuff. Oh my god, no. Oh, shit. Okay, here we go. So yeah, again, a lot of layer. Machine gun that I've resampled and stretched like that, so it sounds really fast. And I cut the sub and put it at the same rate as the machine gun, so you have that really, percussive effect. And there was that thing as well, but I removed it probably because it sounds like shit. Okay, no, that was this thing that I resampled. Okay, never mind. So this thing here became this thing here. Take a shower. And so yeah, again, that's the same layers that I use everywhere in the track, but plays differently, play at a different note, nothing really crazy. And I wanted to, as you can tell, it's called alternative drop, and that's because initially there was those 2 drops. I didn't want it to make more, but then I played my track out one time, and I was so excited. I went back on the project after the show, and I started to write this 3rd drop because I wanted something else to play live. So that was initially not here, but yeah, just for fun. I just wanted to take some basses here and try to do something else, and yeah, I made this, which is probably the heaviest part of the track. But yeah. So yeah, do you have any question about this project, guys? Let me know if you want me to go over some specific details, mix down or whatever. I can actually show you real quick how I set up my groups. Let me play a drop. Drink again. So I have my background bus here, sorry. background bus, where I put all the, you know, all those sustained bass and background stuff. That's why it's called background actually. And it's not, as you can see, it's not as loud as the other bus. I try to keep that. I'm not aiming for a specific number here. I'm never trying to put my kick or my effect that level. I'm just do stuff by here, and I turn this down because that's a background effect, so that's supposed to be in the background. And when you want to put something in the background, you have few options, and the first one is to lower the volume, because when you listen to something and listen closely to what's in the background, you will hear that it's really low and far away. So you can use like gain to create a background, and also reverb and stuff like that, stuff that makes your sound really wide and deep again. So yeah, my background is turned on like that. Then I have my riser here with reverb automation that is not on right here, but I probably enable it somewhere. The problem with FL compared to Ableton is that your project can really be messy easily, especially when it's a big project. So right now I don't know where's the reverb. Thank you, FL. But anyway, that's not really important. That's just a reverb on my filters. This group here, no process. And then comes the interesting part of the process. So the basses and the sub bass. I won't go very far in the explanation here, because that's Samplifier's technique he showed me and teach me back in the days, and since he will do a live stream with you guys soon next week, I don't want to spoil his techniques, but it's just compression. It's like compressing your sub and your basses together. So your sub has to be quieter compared to your basses, and then the compression will bring back the sub at the same level as the synths and make everything sounds together. So that's the main concept for the whole group here. But then I have okay, that's funny. On this track I don't have any crazy process like group processing on my basses. As you can see, there's an EQ just to can I reshape how all the basses sounds. So in this case I probably have too much high end and too much low mid here, so that's why I turned this down. Okay, so this bus go to this bus here, but for no reason. It probably was there was something before, but not here. So never mind this drop. This channel here. So my bass go to all with my sub, and then everything get compressed together. EQ'd again. Pro Q3 with some dynamic EQing. I don't even know if that makes something, but anyway. Sometimes it's all about little details that will make your track sound like what you want. I'm not sure if you guys will hear a difference, but I was probably really nervous about that. Like, I need to turn this down like 1 micro dB. Oh my god! But anyway, I have this endless smile on my basses bus here. I have this by default in my template because I always fade in or fade out my basses at some point in the track, and I love to use this plugin. It's really easy, it's like high pass filter with reverb or delay or flanger. There's different presets with different kind of fading effects, so I love to use that. It's really cool, and you can actually hear it really well here in the alternative drop. Where are the basses? Endless smile here. So when the basses plays, so as you can hear, I just fade the bass in, and then I turn the automation down to 0, and bow. So yeah, that's a really cool plugin, and it's free as well. It's from Dada Life. I guess that's free. Oh my god, I'm not sure. Oh shit, big mistake. Live. Anyway, Do you import your sub as a sample or do you make it in Serum as MIDI export flattened?
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer in every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Flattened to audio. I usually do my sub with MIDI out of Serum, but I resampled it here because I had some post-processing on the sub that was using a lot of CPU. That was kind of stupid, but I was trying to experiment stuff, like I always do that. And so yeah, there was a lot of plugins, and I prefer to resample the sub without having all this heavy post-process running into my project. So that's why it's resampled, but I usually work with MIDI, and I will show you that in the next project I will open up after this. Yeah, it's not free. I'm sorry. Never mind. I will stop showing you plugins, guy. Anyway, I have a camel crusher on my instruments to glue them together. So it's the default presets here. It comes with I don't know how to pronounce that. Oh my god. Annihilate. But anyway, you can read. So this preset here, I disable the distortion and the filtering and just keep the compressor and master to glue everything together. So all the instruments. There was not a lot of stuff as I showed you before, but yeah, just wanted to make them louder and thicker. Then there's this Fritchie balance here, which is the equivalent to utility for Ableton users. Yeah. So it's turning the volume of my instruments down while the risers go up. So it's just a way to, fade out the instruments, because you don't need it in the drop. So I didn't want it to brutally cut them at the pre-drop. I don't like to do that. I like to fade in my sense, or fade them out. So yeah, that's what I did here with just a volume automation. And maybe a filter actually. No, I don't know why the filter is here. Maybe for the pre-intro. Yeah, it is for the very first bars. So yeah, nothing crazy here again. Cymbals. So I sidechain my cymbals, not on every tracks, but in this track here, I sidechain them because I couldn't kind of find a cool middle between my kick transients and my cymbal transients. Everything was clashing, and I wanted to have my cymbals loud. And so the only way to fix that, I mean, that's probably not the only way, but the way I found how to fix that is to sidechain the cymbals. So it's a really fast and subtle sidechain, but it allows my drums to keep their transient without clashing with the cymbals transients. Because as you can see, I told you earlier, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Like on the snare, for example, you have one ride, two rides, two hi-hats, a bit of the tail here. Here you have two crash, two rides. So that's a lot. But sidechain a bit with the kick. It just allows you to keep your transients intact and without any clash or anything. You can go deeper and do some surgical sidechain. You can, I don't know, only sidechain the specific frequency that are clashing with your kick. But I'm too lazy to do that, and I don't think it sounded bad, so I leave it like that. Then I have some saturation on the cymbals, some EQing to remove the very high end. It was too harsh. I need solo the cymbals, I'm stupid. So just, remove some harshness from the cymbals. Then drums, I went over that already, but yeah, saturator to glue the claps to the kick, which is sidechain, I showed you earlier. And transient shaper from kilohertz I really love their plugins. That's yeah, probably my favorite plugins to use for mixing down stuff or distortion and stuff like that. I really love disperser. Yeah, disperser from Caches for sure. So disperser and all that stuff. So there's a tricky thing here. Little sidechain, and then you have premaster, which is absolutely not a premaster bus, which is also a sidechain bus. So there's like 3 sidechain, and you can really like don't care about that. Don't look at that. Just don't look at that, because that was like a mistake I did when I first started the project. I was trying to make a cool template, a good looking template, and I added some stuff here, and I had to route it here. And wait, it's too complicated, but never mind those 2 sidechain thing. So there's just 1 sidechain here that goes directly to the master. So those 2 things here are useless. But that's a messy project. As you can see, it's like extremely full and messy. And it took me 95 hours, so -1 because it's been 1 hour, I think we are on this one. But yeah, that's a lot. So yeah, let's go over another project if you guys are down. If you have any question, let me know. I'll try to remember what's happening in here if I have to answer. Save changes, no. So the new one I will show you is an unreleased track. That is 99% done. I'm still tweaking a few things, like I'm not sure about the vocals. I'm not sure about some compression and some stuff. But yeah, that's really simple. I will show you. So it will take maybe 2 minutes to load. So if you guys have any question while the project is loading, let me know. I have everything still in Serum patches in this project, so it will be probably more interesting for those who are looking for sound design stuff. Do you make your own kicks? And if you do, could you go over that? I do some kicks. I'm not really good at it. I will show you. Let me just load this project and I'll show you how I do my kicks. But there's this feature in FL that is amazing called Pogo, which takes your sample and add a pitch modulation to it. So it's also stretch your sample, and you can take anything and transform it into a laser. So starting from that, you can also create kicks, because kicks are kind of lasers. You know, it's just an automation from really high to really low. Pitch automation from high to low, fast automation. So yeah, I will show you real quick. I'm not gonna make a kick though, but just show you the process how I will do that. Yeah, sure, I will show you how I do my sub. I will show you how everything is done in this track, and there's a lot of stuff to say. When do you bounce MIDI to audio? Is it when your CPU gets full, or do you do it so you can organize bases more easily? Well, both. There's also another reason. It's post-processing and manipulating samples. I think that when you bounce some stuff as audio, you can then create some stuff out of it that you couldn't do with Serum or a faceplant, or I don't know, any other synthesizer. So it just open new gates for sound designing, because you have all the stretching stuff, all all the warping stuff you can do in Ableton, for example. So there's this reason. There's also the CPU usage, as you said. So in my case, I resample a lot now because I try to avoid CPU, problems and latency in my projects, because I have a lot of latency. Sometimes I have to move my sidechain. I don't know if that's the case here. I have to move my sidechain few milliseconds after the bar here because I have some plugins that create some latency, and to compensate this latency, I have to move my sidechain, or I have to find the exact right milliseconds for the latency, which is annoying to do. If that was more useful, if that was easier to do, I will do it, but you have to click and then type randomly a number, and if you're wrong, then you have to do it again, and anyway, it's way easier to move the sidechain. And so that's why I will bounce basses, just to avoid any latency, to make my own folder of basses that I can reuse later. I also have a sample pack I'm working on. A sample pack I'm working on with a lot of basses. Not a lot, but some basses. Where is it? Oh, it's here. That's just a beginning of the pack, but there's some cool stuff and some kicks. So that's the kicks I've made lately. And I could, for example, take this one here and make another kick out of this kick by just tweaking the pogo here, changing the multiplicator. Oops, my bad. And then, just add a hi-hat on it, add something else, and you have a new kick. That was the first one. That's a new one. And this is more like a trance music kick. But you can do some cool stuff, and you can layer kicks as well, and just that's how I usually do my stuff. Shout out Samplifier again, because he showed me that the pogo. Samplifier is my is my mentor. Show me so much cool stuff. Anyway, so how do I process and my basses and my sub? So let's go over that real quick. I'm just gonna play the track one time, and then I will explain everything in detail. I just ask you guys to not rip the song, and enjoy. Here we go. Excuse me, let me try to fix the latency real quick. Sorry about that. Should be better now.
Dead men tell no tale.
You have no power here.
I will quickly go over the second drop so you know what's happening as well. It's a bit of I changed it a bit.
Dead men tell no tale. No power here.
And then it's the same exact second half, so you know it already. So yeah, that's some brand new stuff I'm working on. Not entirely finished. I'm still, as I said, tweaking some stuff, but that's mostly it. So I just go through the chat real quick. I saw Kyle asked me if I use Cytomix the glue at all, and yes. For this track, I used it to glue all my synths together, and it works so well. I mean, I could have used Maximus, like on the other project. There's Maximus here, but it's not enabled. But yeah, for some reason, I felt like the glue was more helpful for this track. I tried both, as you can tell. There's Maximus here, so I tried the same routing as the other track, but didn't work out. So I tried to glue my synths together alone without the sub, and then the sub, as you can see, goes into the sidechain without any group processing. So yeah, I will go over how I make my sub bass because you guys asked me that. I'm just gonna read the chat again. Oh, thank you guys. Glad you like it. I worked hard on it. 80 hours on this one. That's maybe not a lot, I don't know. I never compared that to other producers, but for me, that's a lot. 80 hours, that's a lot of fucking work. Though, yeah. My sub bass. Where is it? So I have three different subs. Let me put them together. I will explain why later. So yeah, I have this first sub bass here. Where are you? Yeah, here we go. So it's just analog beat design. I usually use that to make my sub bass. I start with this wavetable. So you can find it in the analog tab here. So it's like a sine wave, but with more harmonics. If you turn the wavetable position here, you can see that the wavetable changed a little bit. And so the harmonics is not exactly the same. It's not just a pure sine wave. You have some other stuff here. So, I moved it. I don't think it will change a lot, but anyway, what I do is, first of all, I make a shape for the dynamic / volume of my bass. So when I say dynamic, just because I'm automating the volume, so technically it just creates some dynamic. So that's why I call this dynamic volume. Anyway, so this LFO for the levels on my sub, I start with that every time. So if I have a quarter note, I will tend to do this type of shape. Then I will add really subtle pitch modulation on the oscillator here to give more punch to my bass, to my sub, I guess. Not punch, but yeah, punch. Never mind. We talked about that earlier on the other project. But yeah, as you can tell, the more pitch I give to the oscillator, the more punchy the bass gets. So I just wanted to have like some modulation, some movement in the bass. Then I have this noise here that has the same shape as my first oscillator here. Not maxed out though, a little bit like that, around 40-50%, something like that. It really depends of how I will process it after. It really depends of that. It really depends of the amount of distortion and compression. So yeah, if I remove everything and just play the patch like that, so like that, so really simple, then the distortion will distort the noise and the sub together. That will create a kind of buzzing effect. I talked about that earlier. Then the OTT here to bring back the high end. Then I have a camel crusher here that compresses the bass. So I usually put this preset here, British Clean. It works well for basses and sub, for everything actually, but yeah, I use that a lot. So that's how it sounds now. And yeah, so this is a bit crazy, and believe me or not, but that's the very first time in my life I do that with an EQ, like boosting my sub like that. But yeah, for some reason that was way easier for me to control the intensity of my sub rather than playing with some other compression and stuff. So yeah, I just put this EQ in my sub and started to push the low end up, and it sounded good. So you know that rule, I say if it sounds good, it sounds good, just do it. So that's how my sub sounds in this track. Let me just and if you look at a spectrum here, you can tell that it takes a lot of room in the track. So I love to use noise in my sub just to have this kind of distorted high end that's gonna fill the frequency spectrum on top of the basses. And yeah, that's how I do my sub. And I have on my mastering, so shout out Spaghetti for that, but just a soft limiting on each band. So it looks like it's doing nothing, but it softly compress each bands here, allowing me to go really hard in the mixer here without getting any distortion or any clipping. So that's why you can see my sub going in the red like that without being destroyed, because at the very end of my mastering I use a soft clipper just to, you know, clip to 0. But if I were to remove the soft clipper and the ozone and play everything together, actually it doesn't it doesn't sound that bad. But yeah, it technically allows me to have more control on everything. Like if there's too much mid, the limiter will turn down the mid a little bit, and same for the highs, same for the sub, etc. So that's a kind of really easy way to soften your master. And then yeah, just a soft clipper. Oh, and I had this gain here turned down 2 dBs because obviously everything is extremely loud, and in this case that was too loud, so I just simply turned it down with a gain plugin, which is again the same thing as utility in Ableton. But yeah, I really like how this track sounds, the mixdown wise. I really like how punchy it is, how crunchy, punchy. I mean, the whole thing, I really love how it sounds. So yeah, it's kind of barbarian way to mix down stuff. But yeah, that's how I mix my stuff mostly. I mean, at least for my sub bass. So yeah, let's continue with the actual main basses. So just before the call, I resampled those basses here, which is a layer of the main bass that goes bleep. This one. And I just wanted to add some low end, some low mid, let's say. So I just bounced out this bass here, which is this thing, and I turn the pitch down 1 octave, just to, you know, yeah, give the whole thing more mid. See if I turned it up. See, so yeah, I just turned the volume down then and try to match the volume. So I can hear it, but it's not over the actual main bass, because that's not what you want. I mean, that's not what I wanted. Just wanted to have it in the background, just feeling some, yeah, mid-range frequencies. Not too much. I don't know what was the actual, let me control this boy. Okay, here we go. So the basses, the patch, actually. Let's go over that. There's a lot of serum. All the things you can see here are serum patches. So they're not playing. Not all of them are playing in a track, but you know, sometimes I will make a patch and I will duplicate it and make a variation out of it, and just leave it in there, just in case if I need something else in my track, like a new bass or something different than what I've already used. So I always end up with like 50 serum or something like that, and it takes a lot of memory, so I should clean it, but I didn't. But yeah, at least we have a lot of stuff to see together. So yeah, if you have any question about sound design, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, I will go over the basics. So the first one, the growl. Right. This one. So, okay, let's not look at the FX chain yet. I saw too much OTT already, like way too much. Anyway, so the bass is really simple. As you can tell, in this front page, there's nothing else than a monster wavetable that everyone has with Serum here in Spectral, some bandpass, some wavetable position movement, some noise and some sub. So let me just take the LFO. So let me remove all the effects and kind of reverse engineering the preset so you can understand what's happening. Oh, could you go over the rees? Yeah, we'll go over it, no worries. I will try to keep that in mind. So when you resample and pitch down a bass, do you cut the lows out of the resample or just mix? Yeah, I think I cut the lows. I'm not sure because, as I said before, I did that right before the call. So, okay, no, it's not cut. It's not cut when it comes into the glue compressor, but after the glue compressor, I have this EQ here on all the basses. So at the end, all the basses got a high pass filter. But alone, it doesn't have any EQing. It doesn't really need it, I think. But anyway, because I think I resampled those basses, and on those main basses, there was already high pass. So everything that has been turned down here is not low enough to create like really low frequency. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope so. Oh, where's the chat? I don't have the chat anymore. Excuse me. So yeah, so the growl, it sounds like that without any processing, without any effect on Serum or whatsoever. You probably can't even hear it. Let me just turn on those guys here. So no, yeah. So I will turn on the post-processing chain because otherwise we won't hear anything. So it's not really complicated. It's a lot of compression, as you can see, EQing. So I did this vowel EQ, trying to reach those formant frequencies here to give my bass kind of vowel effect. A gate here to remove the undesirable artifacts that OTT creates. So that's not a part of the sound designing process, more like cleaning process. Then OTT again. So let me see. Okay, 100%. This one. So I will explain you the trick after that. 100% again, time all the way up, and 80% for this one. So the trick is, I don't know if, I'm pretty sure everyone in the chat saw the Barely Alive video about how to make rolls and stuff like that, and that's literally the same concept. So if you didn't see the video, I will go over it real quick. Let me grab the roll again. So yeah, the trick with the multiple OTT here is to bring back what you're gonna remove with the bandpass filter. So as you can see here, you have the bandpass filter, and only what's in the triangle, you can only hear what's in the triangle. So everything that is outside the triangle, you can't hear it. Well, you can hear it, but only if you put like 10 fucking OTTs in it. But yeah, the trick is to remove those frequencies and then bring them back with the compression, with the EV compression. If you do that with the glue compressor, it will not work the same as OTT. So yeah, that's to make it quick. That's the main concept behind compressing that much your bass. It's, you need to remove a lot of high end and low end, and then the heavy compression will bring it back. I will stop saying that. I said it twice already. So then I distorted the bandpass here. Oops. Let me play it at the right octave. Oh, come on. Oh, that's not the right roll. My bad. That's better. So after that, I distort the bandpass here. Oh, by the way, I don't put my noise in the filter because I want the noise to be heavily compressed with the rest of the bass. But as you can tell, the filter here doesn't let anything pass through here. Which I don't know what exact frequency it is. But yeah, you know what I mean. The noise can go through the bandpass, so I decide to leave it alone without routing it here, so the distortion and compression can bring it back. Then, as you can see here, almost the same thing as here, a bandpass again. Then a phaser to give more vowel effect to the growl. You can change the vowel if you, for example, put a macro and change the cutoff position to make variations. I will keep it like that, for example. No, never mind. Then another phaser for even more vowel effects. So without the two phasers, and then with it, makes a big difference. Hyper dimension, sorry, not hyper, but dimension, with little automation on the mix, not too much, to keep a really strong mid signal. Then compression. EV compression, so the release is turned all the way down because I wanted those artifacts to be heard. So if I turn it up and if you turn it down, it's way more crunchier. So that's what I was looking for. So that's why I turned this down. That's maybe a bit too much because there's a lot of other OTT, but I don't know. It sounds cool. I will probably clean this up at the very last stage of making this track. When I will resample all the basses, maybe I will try to, you know, fade out those really annoying crisps. Anyway, a flanger at the end here to give a kind of laser effect. So when you turn all those knob downs here and play with the depth knob, you will create this zapping or laser or flanger effect. Obviously flanger effect since it's a flanger, but I don't know if that will be noticeable enough. Yeah, if you turn this like that, it gives it more like laser kind of texture. So yeah, this, and then you turn the mix down to kind of blend it with the actual main signal. You know, it's just all about adding texture to the sound. It's not gonna change the patch itself, but at the end you will have this kind of ringing effect. Or yeah, all about the details again. So yeah, then after that, just some post-processing here. I went over it already. So OTT, EQing, format EQing, OTT 3 times. Then another EQ here. Kind of shape again the growl. Yeah, that was kind of harsh here, I guess. Too much, not harsh, but too much mid. And then the saturator here after that. To make everything very loud and crunchy. And ozone imager as well. So I used it here to add more stereo. So if you use this plugin this way, you need to have some stereo information first, because if the signal is mono, if I were to disable that, it's not entirely mono. Why? Oh, probably because the phasers. Okay, never mind. But if your signal is mono and you go through this plugin and try to turn this up, nothing will happen because there's no stereo signal. So if your bass is mono, you need to click on stereoize to create some delay on the signal, and then after that you can play with a riff here and yeah, adjust the stereo imaging. But yeah, that's why this was turned off, because I already have some stereo here with the dimension and the phasers. And yeah, some last EQing just to turn down the harsh frequency. I should use a dynamic EQ for that, I think. But yeah, I don't know. There's no reason why I didn't use a dynamic EQ actually, or multiband compression, something that could tame the high frequencies a little bit instead of just have this static EQ. But anyway, so that's for the growl. Do you have any question about the growl bass, about the processing, or it's pretty simple, but it's just a combination of good effects, I guess. But the main thing is really the simplest thing ever. So yeah, I will look at the chat. If you guys have some question, I will go over the other basses. So the main one, the bleep one, I call it bleep bass because it goes bleep, something like that. Oh, I have autoband on. So this bass, where is it? So yeah, this bass, the particularity of this bass, what makes this bass sounds like that, it's because there's a big gap between both oscillators' pitch. So one is really low compared to the other one that is really high, and FMing two wavetables like that with a big gap in terms of pitch will create this kind of wobbling effect. Not wobbling effect, but bleeping effect. I don't know what would be the best adjective for that, but yeah, you can really get some crazy alien type of sound with two wavetables and by playing with the octaves here. If I were to play this bass very low, like here, you can hear it creates some automatic modulation in the pitch because of the gap between both. If I were to do that, see, it's the sound is less spaced. It sounds more like a lead or something. But if you turn the octave down, So yeah, the bass alone like that, if you give me that patch and ask me to review it, I will say it sounds like shit and you can't use that. But I figured a way to use it in this track, and yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I was working on it for a long time. I was like, fuck, I think I need to stop working on this bass. It's interesting, but it will go nowhere. And at the end, it's like the main bass of the whole track. So yeah, sometimes something can sounds really weird, but if you use it in a let's say creative way, yeah, you can have good results. So I'm pretty happy with this one, which yeah, I wasn't really confident with it, but yeah, no, turns out good. So yeah, there's different layers, 3 of them playing at the same time. No, 3, yeah, 3 of them. So you have the main one, this one, then a lower one, then another one here, which is a low one as well, plus this one that I've added on top of the whole thing. And the process on those basses is kind of weird. So I will go through all of them. I'll show you. So that's the main one without any effects. So the first thing I did on this bass is adding some distortion, EQing, just bringing up what was missing, turning down what was too much, then distorting this a lot, as you can tell. Just I don't know, I enjoyed this kind of distorting compression on this bass. I was, yeah, I really loved it, so I keep it like that. Then OTT, to just compress it more. EQing again. Then the thing that makes everything sounds interesting is a frequency shifter here. That's gonna make a kind of riser on the basses. So without it, and then with the frequency shifter from kilohertz. And the same automation here that goes a bit up. So yeah, so there's this bass, but I layer this bass with another bass. So this there's this trick you can do with FL, with this thing called Fruity Sand. You can route your signal to another channel without having all the post-processing on. For years, I thought that was not possible. For years, I was doing this in a different way. So if I wanted to do some parallel processing, I had to take one channel, put it in one other channel, and one other channel. So there was like 3 different channels for one parallel processing. But I discovered this thing called Fruity Sand that allows you to send your signal to any other channel without being affected by the post-processing. So that's why this is the first effect here, because otherwise, if I do that, then my signal will be affected by the distortion and OTT. So what's happening here? It's this main bass without any effects. This one goes to this thing here, and this thing here got a crystallizer, OTT, parametric EQ that turns high and up, and a frequency shifter again. So, oh, it sounds together. Ah, I don't think you will allow me to show you. Hold on. How can I do that? If I do that, and oh, turn on. I need to turn on the effects. Stupid me. So that's how the layers sound. And so the layer with the other bass together. You just add some, texture on top of the actual bass. And then both basses goes together into this blip final, which is the final compression stage for both layers. So I will compress the main bass and its layer in the same group here with OTT and some saturation. So it sounds like it's one single sound and not two separated sound. And yeah, this channel goes to the bass as well with the growl and all the other basses. So it's not a complex post-processing chain, but the thing that makes a big difference here, I think it's the frequency shifter mostly, and the distortion that makes everything sounds more noisy and less watery, plastic. I don't know, text, you know, vocodex texture. I don't know the adjective for that again. But yeah, that's why I added all this shit on my basses. So nothing really complicated, but let's go over the other basses. I have this one shot here. Which is a bit too much saturated. Never mind. So yeah, this bass, I have a bunch of version. This one, where is it? This one, I have many copies of this one that does different stuff. So this bass here, that comes every 3 bar. Every 4 bar. Oops. Yeah, here we go, sorry. So this bass here, I'm gonna go in the patch. That's some FM again, with 16 voice unison, a flanger, and as a first filter to give that metallic kind of sound. But that's not only that's not the only thing that gives a metallic sound. There's also all passes here. I will go over it after. But it kind of gives that laser sound we were talking about earlier. That I was doing with the flanger here. That's kind of the same thing, but the difference is that this one's gonna be distorted right away with the bass here, so it's gonna create a kind of different tone. Then I have that good old phaser to give some, you know, vowel effect again. It's really subtle on this one though, but it's here. Hyperdimension, like the other basses, really subtle, not a subtle, a little modulation here in the mix. I like to, I don't know if I say that already, but I like to have this kind of shape for my dimension mix. So when my bass hits here, so the signal is mono, so you have a really powerful signal, and then it just goes up a little bit like that, and then goes down. So it means that your bass is not completely drawn into the dimension expander. It just you just have a lot of dimension expander at this point here, which is like the middle of the bass or something. Not even. It's the end. This is the shape of my bass, and the stereo imaging goes like that. So as you can tell, when my bass kind of stops, my mix goes up. So it creates that stereo widening effect. But this way you don't lose any mid signal, which is very important if you want to have your bass to sound like powerful in the drop. So important to not overuse that and not too much. I was talking with company an hour earlier about that. Anyway, for this bass, as you can see, I didn't do the release thing I was doing on the growl because I didn't want those artifacts, because the bass is already very noisy, and I didn't want it too much iron. I kind of fight myself to to fix the IN on this track, but yeah, that's my way, the way I produce. Some EQing here that don't do a lot, but shapes the sound. And then the all-pass filter. Ooh, that makes everything sound metallic. So that's my really my go-to filter lately. It's all-pass filter or comms filter. I like to use it with a mix around 50%. Sometimes I like to automate the mix as well to create some cool effects. The resonance to give that metallic sound to it, and you can also automate this one. So you can, for example, make this bass here and use the same shape. So that's a cool trick. I don't know if you guys know that, but if you press Alt, I don't know what's the key on Mac though, but Alt and click and drag here, you're gonna copy the shape from this oscillator to this, LFO, to this LFO. And so what I want to do on my resonance here, what I could do is use the same shape, but, oh, what's happening? I think my FL is going bad. No! Oh, shit. It happens. Oh, cool. Never mind. So yeah, use the same shape, but instead of doing it this way, which will be the same way as this, which corresponds to my dynamic shape, I will do the opposite. So I will turn it like that and turn it backward. So it means that every time my bass stops playing, the resonance goes up, and then you can have those really metallic artifacts without having them on top of the actual main signal. Kind of the same thing I did here with the hyperdimension. That's, almost the same thing. If I do it in extreme mode like that, you will hear it. But the main bass is like not touched by the resonance. So that can be a cool effect. If you want to have those metallic tails to your bass, you can use all pass and just play with the resonance. And you can also play with a damp. When you use a lot of resonance and play with a damp, it's gonna add a kind of low pass filter on the, that's not kind of, it actually add a low pass filter on the resonance. So you can have those, metallic effect, but low pass, so it sounds cleaner. See, cleaner than that. And you can even go crazier, but be really careful with that, is turn the mix down and then move the pan knob here a little bit. So everything that the all pass is doing gonna be panned. So it's not gonna be panned to the right, like if you were doing it like that here. It's not the same thing. It pans the whole effect, so it gonna sound like kind of a Haas effect, I guess. Not exactly a Haas effect, but it's the same kind of stuff. So you can have a lot of phasing issue, but that's why you want to turn the mix down and only use it as a kind of layer on top of your basses. So it sounds like that. I need to put my whole headphones to hear the stereo. I don't know if you guys hear the stereo. I hope so. I also changed the pitch a little bit, but yeah, you have a really wide layer out of this filter now, and the main signal is not affected by it. If you were to do that, it's completely phasing, I guess. It doesn't sound really great. No, it does. Oh yeah, also for FL Studio users, I have this on my master called Fruity Stereo Shaper with this preset called Mid, and I have this thing here, route to, I don't know if you will see, hold on, let me put OBS on, yeah. I have this knob here, and when I turn those knobs, it makes my master go to mono. So when I'm sound designing stuff and using like this kind of has effects things, I like to turn this knob and see if it still sounds good in mono. And if it doesn't, then I just have to change the panning or try to fix it in a different way. But I would recommend to everyone watching this to have this thing on the master and sometimes just turn it on and see if everything sounds as good in mono as in stereo. If stuff is not as loud, but you try to avoid losing a lot of volume. So yeah, just put this on your master and turn it on sometimes just to make sure everything sounds good. It's very important and it changed my life forever. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Oh yeah, so there's this bass right here that goes with this one. And so this little bass here is, where is it? Right here. I think it's, yeah, almost this, oh no, it's not the same type of bass, actually. Let me see. Excuse me about that. No, it's not exactly the same thing, but I usually work my bass the same way. As you can see, I turn the unison up, do some FMing, filtering to create either a vowel effect or a tonal effect. That's the way I think when I make sound design. I do FM or not. Then when I turn on the filter, I think about why. So am I using it for like vowel effect, just for cleaning effect, like to filter stuff? Or is it for texture effect? So texture will be like, you know, reverb filter, combs, all passes, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, every time I'm making a bass, I'm always thinking about what I really want to do and what will I use for that. So for this kind of bass, it's simply vowel effects. So filtering to make the bass sounds like someone talking. Yo, yo. Make a big difference. Then tube distortion a little bit to make everything thicker. Some compression here again. Another filter here that cannot. No, it doesn't do the same because there's not a notch here, but it's an high pass and a notch that gonna give the bass even more vowel effect. It's subtle, but you can tell the difference, I guess. Gonna reach those low mid frequencies. Then the same LFO that I use for the dynamics on the hyper and on the dimension here. There's one thing I forgot to mention, guys, which is also very important. When you use unison, when you use multiple voices on your basses, by default, you have the width here turned to 100, and it's cool. It sounds wide. It sounds cool, yeah. But sometimes when you turn that to mono, you have some phasing issues, so you will hear a kind of flanger on your sound, and your sound will be very quiet because of the phase cancellation stuff. So I will recommend you, if you were to do some crazy unison basses like that, to turn this down to 0 or something around 20, something like that. And yeah, and just make sure nothing is phasing, because when you make basses like that, it can sound good until you turn it to mono and it sounds like complete shit. So yeah, be careful with that. And you can, if I'm not saying shit, you can automate this, guys, here. Oh, I need to stop touching Sarah, my FL gonna crash. This project is about to die. 11 gigs, wow. Okay, so I wasn't sure about it, but you can actually automate the width here. So it means that you can also automate the range and the warp and the wavetable position. You know what? I'm discovering stuff with you guys tonight. I'm learning stuff with myself. That's so cool. Oh, did it crash again? Oh. I need to stop tweaking CRM for sure. Gonna crash really. Okay. So yeah, turn this to 0.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
It sounds good like that, but yeah, phasing issues and all. So yeah, that's just a simple tip about the voicing and stuff. So the post-processing on this one is EQing. Oh, that's terrible. EQing, then I bring back what I've removed with the EQ, with the OTT. So it can sound stupid, but that was the only way I found to give my bass this kind of tone. That was removing what was too present, too much here, and then compress it a lot with OTT to bring it back. But it will bring it back in a more controlled way, if that makes sense, because everything will be compressed together. So that's why I removed it, then hardly compressed it again, so it doesn't sound the same, and yeah, it gives a different grain to the bass. If I were to, for example, put another EQ, just a simple example, another EQ and OTT. Sounds filtered, but it is still usable because of the heavy compression that comes after, that's gonna bring back everything you remove. So that's what happened here with this weird EQ thing. But that's yeah, that's how I had this type of tone. Then EQing again, imager, compression. Subtle compression, actually, really subtle, and soft clipping because the bass was going really high. So I just wanted to give more control before the glue compressor compress everything. I just wanted to flat out the top of this channel. Yeah, so let's continue with the other bass. Oh my bad. Oh, I forgot to turn down the all pass filter that we tweaked earlier. It didn't sound bad though. Kinda enjoy that. So I go over the Reese now. Someone asked me how I did the Reese bass. Thomas. So the Reese bass, where it is. Reese. Right here. So I have a pack here with a lot of Reese basses I made last year. So that's one of them, but pretty simple as you can see. I can try to recreate it live. Maybe it will be easier to understand the concept behind it. I'm just gonna root it here and turn this up and this too. Okay. So what you can do is take one saw wave like that, detune it, and turn the width down. So there's no stereo, and what's happening is you have two different signals that are not at the same pitch exactly because of the detune, and that's the concept of a Reese bass, is detuning two things together. So you already have something kind of, you know, that sounds like a Reese bass. And you can play with the detune here and adjust some wobbling effects. pretty simple. Then you can add some distortion, some noise. And I think what makes the big difference in the Reese basses, if you want something like really decent and interesting, is the filtering. So using phasers, notches, peaks, and stuff like that will make the bass way more interesting. If I take a notch, for example, shout out to all my French friends who show me these tricks not so long ago. The notch filter. Try to make a shape, random shape, something slower. And something like that. And then, yeah, compress it a lot. I added some vocodecs here. So that's not the same bass for sure. That's the actual Reese bass. So there's more complex filtering here that I've route to a macro. So I can automate stuff myself. And then there's this manipulator here, which gonna add even more wobble effect to the bass. So what's happening here? So the concept of a Reese bass was to detune two things together to have that wobbling effect. But on top of that, I using this plugin at 50% dry wet, which means there's two different signals, and one signal, so the wet one, is turned on few harmonics down. Is turned few harmonics down, which is gonna create another wobbling effect. So there's like two wobbling stuff in one bass, and it makes it even more interesting. So without it, so yeah, that, and yeah, also pitch modulations can make this sound more interesting, because if you just play it static, okay, but with more you know, pitch bending and stuff, it's, yeah, more interesting. And then a vocoder, I didn't change a lot here. I turned on the voices and the order, I think. Disable all the things in the draft mode. Then an OTT and saturator to make it loud. Oh, actually, no. Actually, it turned it down. It's probably the first time I use a saturator to turn down anything. But it turns it down and then saturate it at 0. And then I have another EQing and MSCD, which is a mid-side volume controller, I'd say. So you can, yeah, adjust the side gain and the mid gain. So I turned the side down a little bit because there was too much. But that's how I made this Reese bass. So as you can see, there's this macro here playing with the EQ right here. And I also play with the pitch here, with the notes, sorry. But yeah, that's it for the Reese bass. Again, that's not really complicated, this one. I mean, you can make crazy Reese bass, of course, but this one is really probably the simplest one ever. But yeah. Bass is interesting as well. That's a really distorted bass I've resampled and stretched, and it's really cool. If you take one part of it, like this one, I love the texture on top of it, the kind of metallic texture.
No power here.
So some shots here that I've resampled, those basses that will come in my pack. Sorry, this one, Yeah, so the main bass here is a serum patch as well. Oops. Yeah, manipulator is dope. When my friend showed me this trick, I was mind blown as well. It kind of reminds me of Sultan's wrist basses. I feel like I'm pretty sure he used that now because the same texture. It adds the exact same texture on top of it because of manipulator. So this synth here that I've turned down with a frequency shifter because with Serum, I think that's a question that's a lot of people want the answer. It's how do you make sound design in key? And that was one of my biggest problem for a moment. I was like, everything I'm doing doesn't have a key. It's like atonal, and I just can't, construct a drop out of stuff that doesn't have any key, unless you have a big ass sub that have like so much harmonic that it just carry the whole track. But if that's not the case, you can use like a frequency shifter or a pitch shifter. But frequency shifter is nice as well to kind of find the right pitch for each basses. And I really love to use frequency shifter for that. And what's cool with it is you can do that with a pitch shifter as well, but you can do like multi-band frequency shifting. Like you can take the very fundamental of your bass and just frequency shift this one and not the high end and not the low end. Because when you try to frequency shift the low end, it sounds bad and weird. But yeah, that's a cool way to make your sound design in key. If it's not in key out of Serum and you can figure out how to make it sound in key, just use frequency shifter, multi-band frequency shifting, and you're good to go. So yeah, this bass here was like that before, which is not that bad actually, but I prefer it turned on like that. And yeah, here comes this part here. Oh, excuse me. Where was the patch again? So it's the same patch, but turned an octave down. And this patch is, again, some of the simplest patch ever. Some FM out of the stock wavetables. I don't know if that's exactly a saw or something. But yeah, stock wavetables. Some automation on the detune, level, FM. Pitch modulation here. If there wasn't that pitch modulation, it would sound not that cool. I like when stuff, is alive and can say something. So yeah, and then reverb filter, that kind of makes everything sounds really metallic and noisy. Without it, and with it. I really love as a reverb filter for this kind of noisy basses. It's really dope. And you can use it the same way I used the all pass filter earlier, with a mix down and pan on one side and damp up and try to make some kind of metallic tails to your basses. But yeah, that's for this one. The same growl that will probably change. And there's come this very interesting bass. Preachy boys. So, this one. That's funny because every patch here is like very simple, like very, very simple. So what makes this bass interesting is this LFO here that I route to the master pitch. So LFO3, master tune, sorry. And it just goes really fast and creates that kind of wobbling effect that also creates the actual texture of the sound. So if I were to disable it, hold on. Actually, Actually, it doesn't do that much. Never mind. it does something, but because of the saturation afterwards, I feel like everything is squashed and you can't really tell, you can't really hear the pitch modulation. But yeah, there's a pitch modulation here. I really love to do that. It's like FMing two basic shapes or something really simple with not too much, complex informations in the wavetable. And then use a really fast LFO on the coarse pitch of one of those oscillator. I won't do that now because I'm afraid that Serum crash again. But yeah, using a really fast rate LFO on one of the two oscillator will create a completely different texture to the sound. So that's really cool to try. So undo nothing. Some hyperdimension here. So that's what makes this kind of sound. If I were to remove it, so it's like that, and with it. So yeah, the only thing I think is bad with it is I'm losing a bit of mono signal here. Can I get drawn? So I will tend to use something like MSED. I show it earlier, and turn the mid gain up a little bit and maybe the sides down. Just to have more mid signal and yeah, to make it match to the sides. And some compression again, RTT, sorry, soft clipping, and EQing, high pass, simple. So again, that's a really simple bass with really basic wavetables. And yeah, the only thing that makes it really interesting is the hyperdimension thing here. You can go crazier too, but yeah, you will lose a lot of stuff. So yeah. And one more thing I can tell about the basses is here for the second drop. So it's the same basses as I used in the first drop. The only thing I did is I played them 1 octave lower. So I didn't change anything in Serum, but instead I just turned the MIDI down 1 octave. Where is it? Yeah, this one. So it sounds really weird. That's the original. No. Wait. That's the original. And that's turned down. So that's a good way to reuse your synths, but make them sound a different grain and texture. Just play them 1 octave down. So yeah, that's it for the basses. I think I think I went over everything. There's not too much content. That's the same bass over and over, but few variations. There's some background elements as well on this track, as you can see, a lot of stuff. I really love that. I really love when there's something happening in the background. So that's my background effect. During the whole track. And yeah, a lot of effects again. And yeah, that's it. I will go over the mixing real quick of the basses, and I think we're good after that. If you have any question, now is the time. So yeah, the basses. Someone asked me earlier if I were using glue, and yeah, on the basses group here, I have a glue compressor that compress 9 dBs and 9 dB is the exact same makeup as the threshold, and a soft clipper activated. Even if it doesn't do a lot, since I'm tweaking the signal after. But yeah, AV compression here, if I were to turn it off, you can really hear the difference between some of the basses. And that's my problem. That's because I probably didn't really, took the time to gain stage everything, make every bassist sound at the same level. So I kind of cheated and used a glue compressor, but I will fix that before the end of the track, like making a good gain staging and stuff, and then gluing everything together, because now it's more like a fixing solution than a processing step. Like it's like fixing the incoherencies in my mixdown, but it works well. It works really well. Then Endless Smile, I went over it earlier. Parametric EQ to remove the lows. A delay that I'm automating sometimes. I think that's here at the end of the drop. Yeah. So it's a ping pong delay. I'm automating the weight at the end of the drop to create a kind of fade out. And Valhalla Room as well. It's the same kind of stuff. No, actually Valhalla Room, excuse me. Valhalla Room is here to make those little reverb gaps here. Makes the reverb goes up at the very end of each part to create again that kind of sucking effect. So, how would you go about creating a motif for more basic drip you've written and wants to enhance? Drop. You go about creating a motif for more basic drop. What do you mean by motif? I'm sorry, I'm confused with this word. What a motif is. Oh, okay. A theme. Okay. Well, it depends of many things. For example, for this track, the theme is not completely here, but I want to aim for something about space and sci-fi stuff. So the thing that makes me think about it was this bass here. I don't know why, but this kind of bleepy bass reminds me some, sci-fi stuff, some sci-fi noise. Something from Aliens movie or something, and so from that I was inspired to make something kind of dark and simple, like a cinematic kind of intro, So I have those things here in the intro, those battle noise here that simulate a kind of war in the background. So this track will be a kind of if I were to put a name on it, it will be Invasion or something like that. And then some impacts as well, some cinematic stuff, some tension, those strings as well here. That's gonna come with my sample pack as well. Beats, using stuff that creates some tension. And yeah, for if you want, for example, to, as you say, enhance your drop with the theme, I personally will use stuff from the intro, so it can be vocals or, for example, I don't have that here, but scary strings. I think it's called clusters. It's like not atonal. Yeah, I think it's atonal chords made out of strings plucks. Like thing that you can hear in Hitchcock movies. And so using these kind of samples in your drop, for example, could make the listener think about the whole theme. So I'm kind of confused in what I'm saying. So what I mean is you can use stuff that you use in the intro in your drop to make the listener feel like that he is still in the same theme. Wow, that was hard to say. I'm not sure if that's clear, but yeah, using stuff you used before, like or similar stuff. For example, if you use some war stuff here, but why not using guns here in your drop, and why not a reloading sample here with someone saying something about war, or it's all about kind of telling a story, I guess. For sure, you don't have to tell a story every time. You can just make bass and make a drop, and that's it. But if you want to create a theme, you have to think about the whole track every time. That's why when I'm making music, I always play the track many times, and sometimes from the beginning, so I can really, be in the mood, in the same mood as in the same mood as my intro. So yeah, it's all about strategy. Maybe if you plan to do something with a theme, it will be easier for you to follow the rules instead of just, going freestyle and at some point say, okay, I want this track to sound like this theme. I love how the second half of this workshop became sound design masterclass stuff. Yeah, thank you guys. If you have any more questions, I'm just gonna smoke one last cigarette because here it's like 5 a.m. 5:36, and I just stay here, see if you guys have any questions, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, I didn't see. It's been 2 hours and 40 minutes. Oh my god. I don't see the time when I'm making music. I don't even watch the time. I just make music. I don't care what time is it, what day it is. Who cares? But yeah, thank you for everyone who tuned in. Thank you, Fire, for the opportunity. That was really cool. I really enjoyed doing that, and I hope I will be able to do that again with more new tracks. Meantime, if you guys want to take lessons with me, I will be available now since we are all confined in our rooms. I have plenty much time to do lessons. So you can go through the website, the Fire website, and book a session with me. Do you just use a soft clipper to make sure the track doesn't clip? Yeah. Yeah, but funny story. If I don't use any clipper, that's okay too. If I export my track like that, that's okay because FL will apply a kind of soft limiting, soft clipping at the end. So, I mean, if I were to like make an EP and give it to a label, I won't like give stuff like that. But you can't. It doesn't really matter. I mean, until you hear something that changes in your sound, like if your drums get really clipped and sounds like a fucking square, it looks like a fucking square because of the soft clipper, then maybe don't put a soft clipper. But I don't use it for any specific reason, like texture or something like that. Just because, I don't know, I've always been told that when you export something, you shouldn't go above 0. So I did that, but I realized that if you don't do that, it doesn't matter, your track will sound good still. So don't take this advice for your own tracks, because that's again some experimental stuff, I say. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. You can't clip in 32 bits TAW, so it's just gonna clip when you render this out. Oh, thank you guys. Glad you liked that, and yeah, glad I helped you. So I see you soon, guys. Have a great day. I don't know what time is it for you guys, but it's bedtime for me now. So yeah, have a good day, and see you soon.